So Nicholas McGee's reporting happy Thursday, Facebook friends and fans from around the world. And today I've announced my support for Tennessee Governor Bill Halsam today on conference call as a presidential scholar with the White House. Nicholas McGee, promoting diversity and of course peace in Ukraine.
It is our view that, as the president said yesterday, further escalating the conflict through the introduction of U.S. military forces into Ukraine is not something that anybody
the unopened letter of President Barack Obama.
Consult with the Ukrainians. Number one, about how to help them meet immediate needs in terms of the economy, in terms of meeting the basic needs of their people. And then also, they have been able to consult with NATO through the NATO-Ukraine Council, and we've been in touch with Ukrainian military officials. It's an ongoing process.
So Nicholas McGee's reporting.
Question from Andrew Mitchell with NBC News. Please go ahead.
Also known as the Governor of the United States Congress 2014 on conference call today with the White House. And of course, I have announced my support as a presidential scholar for Tennessee Governor Bill Halsam with the unopened letter of President Barack Obama promoting education and Memphis Olympic bid.
Be involved with the numbers of Russian troops on the border that we are
and of course peace in Ukraine.
Nicholas McGee's reporting that kind of help to the Ukrainians.
Sure, Andrea. First of all, let me say nobody wants the outcome here to be a full-bore military conflict between Russia and Ukraine. And in fact, the Ukrainian government themselves have been quite restrained in not.
That was the voice, of course, of Andrew Mitchell
and not having
the World
this
News.
The way of bloodshed. So as a general matter, it's our view that the best course here is to lay down strong costs through these sanctions to signal that there will be a significant escalatory response to any further Russian provocation and to seek to de-escalate the situation. So we don't want to take steps to add to a momentum of further militarizing the situation. At the same time, though, I do want to be clear, we will consider on an ongoing basis these requests from the Ukrainian military. And that involves our consultations with them about how they're viewing the situation. That does involve specific types of support. But I wouldn't want to overstate the notion that there is a time frame under which we are going to build up the Ukrainian military to engage in a conflict with Russia. That's just simply not the preferred outcome here. And
Nicholas McGee's reporting, CNN icon of Memphis and President Obama, I told you I was your pit hide, always promoting peace here in the great state of Tennessee.
Political and economic isolation that would
in a way, kind of like the presidential stepchild here in the great state of Tennessee. Nicholas McGee, CNN icon of Memphis. And also, I am announcing my support once again for Tennessee Governor Bill Halsam.
Is a place where we can add far more value than any near-term military assistance, even as we will not cooperate in the Iran.
So Nicholas McGee's reporting, kind of like the presidential stepchild here in the great state of Tennessee, as a young Republican promoting Memphis Olympic bid, and of course I've announced my support for Tennessee Governor Bill Halsam on conference call with the White House.
He was at the talks and nothing was
this afternoon here in Memphis, Tennessee, promoting Memphis Olympic bid with the unopened letter of President Barack Obama.
We take note of their words, but we have not seen a change in the P5+1. Now that may not say the same. That they may act on the words of the Deputy Prime Minister yesterday. But all we can say is what we've seen to date, which is that P5+1 is continuing a regular rhythm of political directors meetings and technical expert meetings. And as I said, our position is not going to change vis-a-vis Iran, which is they are going to need to demonstrate through these negotiations that their program is peaceful to the satisfaction not just of Russia, but the P5+1 as a whole. So we take note of his words, but we'll see how the situation develops going forward.
And also, I'd like to give a big corporate appreciation to the President and Mrs. Obama for always coming here to the great state of Tennessee, Nicholas Geese, the presidential stepchild on the way to the great state of Tennessee as a young Republican. And of course, I have announced my support for Tennessee Governor Bill Halsam as a presidential author to inspire my generation to public service. Nicholas Geese, also known as the Governor of the United States Congress, 2014.
To fill in designations, so we provide the authority, and then Treasury and State work together to identify targets for designation. That's what we're going to continue to do. Some of this, like I said, is imposing a cost for what's happened in Crimea, and we escalated those designations because of Russian actions through the week in terms of pursuing annexation. But we also are laying down a marker with this EO to anticipate any potential Russian escalation. I just say too that, look, sanctions in many respects take time to sink in and to have that impact. You see some immediate market impacts and impacts on the ruble with respect to the Russian economy. And going forward, I think Russia stands to lose a lot from economic isolation that would come with the sanctions we've imposed and the broader sanctions we're contemplating. Like, let me just underline one aspect of this, and that's that the sanctions authorities that have been put in place over the last 2 weeks, including today's authority, are all capable of greater use. They all have the authority for us to do additional designations, and so there's both a responsive element to what we've done in terms of imposing sanctions on individuals who are themselves responsible for, in one way or another, what's already transpired. But I think it's also pretty clear, and I think becoming increasingly clear,
Nicholas Geese reporting. CNN Hour Report on Netflix.
I think so, man. I was trying to find what's up with the show.
This is the end of the procession of the presidential inaugural parade. Nicholas Geese reporting. CNN Hour Report on Netflix. Some questions coming up next. Please. USA! Nicholas Geese reporting. Governor Halsam here at the United States Senator Bob Corporate campaign.
That's right. Good to see you, Nicholas. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you, Governor Halsam.
Thank you.
You're a good person.